Hey there, YouTube friends. Maskedbandit here. Thanks so much for hanging out with me again today. I always do appreciate it, and we're continuing our look today with the Australian DLC for Planet Zoo, and we have our second habitat video today. We are going to be creating a habitat for the dingo. I was really excited to get to work with them, check out some of the pack mechanics and stuff like that. And what I did some research, and there is a conservation park in Australia that has a really cool dingo habitat, and that's going to be the inspiration. We're going to try and get this natural border look going, and we're going to have some, and I'm also referencing, I did a Google search for Australian ghost towns and found some really cool structures of some architecture, and we're going to try to incorporate some of that into this build as well. And so that's the plan. Hopefully by the end of this we'll have a lovely dingo habitat, and people have been asking about the koala habitat. I do believe I'm going to try to wrap that up. The problem is my habitats are so wonkily built that they don't transition very well into blueprints, so I'll see if I can't fiddle and get that to you. And then the same with this one. I tried blueprinting this one, and it was a little caterwampusy, but we'll see. So anyway, yeah, let's get cracking on this dingo habitat. First thing I wanted to tackle was the architectural style of the indoor portion of the viewing area. This kind of turned out differently than I thought it was. The building is pretty close to the inspiration, using as many of the new pieces as I can, especially these metal beams here. Those are really nice. But you're going to be able to walk in and check out, and we're going to do a little bit more to dress this up. You're going to be able to walk in and check out the dingoes. We're going to have, you can see there's some glass here. We're going to have this be the walk-through area, or the walk-in area, where you can see the dingoes hanging out. And I love these dingoes, this artwork. I really enjoy it. This stuff down here is by Mr. Domez, and this is by Pond Shrimp. And you can see the other info boards over here by Pond Shrimp. So yeah, I'm really happy with this look. This is kind of the vibe we're going to be going for. This is dusty Outback town, and we're going to do some things to kind of make it look a little more Outbacky. So yeah, in here we're going to clutter all this up and add a floor. And this whole area, we're going to have a very long and very narrow kind of wishbone looking enclosure, I think. And that should do pretty well. So yeah, this is just the start, trying to see if I can get this dusty Outback vibe. And I'm very pleased with it. I think it turned out well. So yeah, very happy. So at this point, I really wanted to go ahead and push even more into this dusty ghost town kind of vibe. I have a windmill here, or a wind pump, to pull water out of the ground. That's something that we saw, and a lot of the research I was doing showed a lot of rain catchers and stuff, which I think we'll try and incorporate later on in the build. But we have this lovely vehicle here, this pickup truck that's kind of old and decrepit and buried in the sand. I kind of like that. The wind pump is by a user named, and I apologize, Kiou87, Qiou87, and then the pickup truck is the Ford F-150 bundle. There's like 3 trucks in the bundle. The other 2 are hiding over there. And that's by a user named Clerics. You can find these on the workshop. I want to shout out. I'm going to be using a lot of workshop items for this build, so I really wanted to make sure I shouted them out when I could. Digging out the trench here that we're going to have. We're going to have a trench, and that's going to allow us to have this, quote, natural border. We're going to put a fence up, obviously, so people can't get in there with some plantings. But when you do it right, it should look like, it's going to look like the only thing separating you and the dingoes is the fence. So super pumped with that. And yeah, that's again, it's a slow go at first. This is a new theme I've never used before, a new style of building I've never used before, new pieces, not to mention I haven't played Planet Zoo regularly in quite a while, so a little rusty. But yeah, I think this is going to work for us. So we have the dingoes in. As always, I like to go ahead and throw them in to see how they're going to look in the habitat. They're way smaller than I originally anticipated. However, they do need a lot of room. And since I plan to have a whole bunch in here, it will make sense to have a much larger area. The inspiration that I'm using, being a wildlife kind of refuge area, has a it looks like it's a really big area for the dingoes. So that makes sense, and we're going to roll with it. So we'll take a look at the dingoes once their area is a bit more. Oh, I haven't turned welfare off yet, so they're going to fight because they're unhappy in here. I do fix that, don't worry. But we have one of the new Australian fences here that's super cool. Some of the new Australian plantings here that are very, very nice, along with some just of the ones that have been in the base game. The eucalyptus trees again, kind of fleshing this whole idea out. Did a change in path. This is the red path texture that came with the update, and you can blend it almost seamlessly in with the dirt texture, or I'm sorry, the sand texture already in the game. So that's really cool. In here, I've decided, I know that these are sticking out too far. I actually want the glass to be flush with the actual wall of the building. I think that will be good. So we've got a long way to go. Little baby steps here at first. It took me a while to find my groove with this. A lot of stuff is going on in my real life. My work situation is crazy at the moment. There is currently a category 4 hurricane sitting in the Gulf of Mexico, and up until this morning, we weren't sure if it was going to hit us or not. The good news is, for me at least, it is not headed in our direction. We will just get a glancing blow. So hopefully that will mean everything is okay here. And so for everyone that's east of us into Louisiana, just do keep them in your thoughts these next couple days, because they're about to go through a really rough time. But I guess that's neither here nor there. But yeah, it took me a while to find my groove. Had a lot on my plate. But after a while, I think it came together. So let's press onward. So one of the things I realized is I don't actually show off the animals very often. So I wanted to, here you go, here's the Dingo. Beautiful model. I love how they circle around before they lay down. We're about to have a puppy in our pack, at which point what I like to do, is I keep all the stuff on, and then I let them breed a little bit. And then I turn off the aging and everything so that our puppy stays as a puppy. Oh, there it is! Oh, come on now. Is that not just the cutest thing you've ever seen? It's so adorable. Look at it. Oh. Ha! But anyway, let's get out of this view. Anyway, we started really working on their habitat in this update here. You can see there's lots of terrain shifts. One of the things in my research, their habitat is basically a hill so that it allows them to hide the hot wire on the backside of the hill, so it looks like there's no borders. Obviously, we have a lot of work to do with that. And there were tons and tons of rocks and shrubs in their exhibit, which was super cool. One of the neatest things that I was researching was this cave, this little den. And it actually, as far as I could tell, it is actually a tunnel system to allow the dingoes to go on exhibit and off exhibit. Now, I am not, for this video, going to be doing the off exhibit area. If I were doing this like in my Emerald Garden Zoo, I would pay more attention to that, and we would do that. But just as an idea of how that would work. So you would have a little gateway here where they could be shunted, I guess, into the offstage area. I'm not exactly sure how that works, or if I'm completely accurate. I had a really hard time reading the schematics of it. This log is actually supposed to be movable, like it blocks the way, so that if you want to stick them in here and then get into the other area, or vice versa, there's ways to keep them in or out. Oh, that was a really nice little tidbit. That's super cool. So I did move the glass back now. I think this makes a lot more sense to have the glass flush, and this also now gives the dingoes a place to lay down and gives them some hard shelter, which they definitely need. So other than that, not much has changed. Just adding lots of rocks, and we're going to start adding some foliage and doing some terrain painting. And that's probably what's up next. So I wanted to show you what this would look like from Peep View. I renamed a Peep Tegidcam, Tegidcam, and that allows me to go into Peep mode, and I can change the field of view. And if I zoom in on this field of view, I can actually, you can see how much it looks like these dingoes are just right here, which I think is super neat. This effect worked really, really well. You can also see what I'm doing with the plantings. One of the things in the description, a lot of foliage to cover this fake den. In real life, it's much smaller, but due to animal hitboxes and because I actually wanted them to be able to go in there, mine has to be a little bigger. For whatever reason, the people don't come in here. They don't. I guess it's because I offer them a viewing area right here. It just blows my mind that the game. I guess I could do it with the barriers, but then it would look ugly. I could make 2-meter barriers all around, except for where I want people to look, but that's just not going to look good. So I have to be okay with them not using my viewing areas as I determined, but really, really happy. Look at the tug rope. That's one, like I said, one of the new items. Love watching them interact with it. Think it's awesome. The little pup is so cute. Just really pleased with this. This feeder is a new thing. Newer thing, I should say. So yeah, you can kind of see how now I've hidden the fences back there. And now it just looks like their habitat goes on forever. In real life, there would be hot wire on the backside of the fence and some more plantings to prevent them from, going any further. So, yeah, that's coming along. We really need to start thinking about what's going to go on over here, though. We're going to have this whole area, too. You can see I've started to dig out a bit. We're going to have this whole area part of the habitat, too. So we need to extend the borders. That's what's next, I think. Things are progressing. Hopefully you can immediately notice just how much fuller this area looks. All the plantings, basically this half of the habitat now is done. Oh my gosh, this bubble thing, I hope I can get some footage of them playing with the bubbles. It is outrageously cute. It is so adorable. I've thrown more toys in here. I've thrown more rocks and foliage in now. I've gone ahead and added some seating, just some really kind of janky seating. Replaced the beautiful artwork with some info boards, just because I think we need some in the habitat to show that it's still a zoo. By adding the bedding down here, I wish the guests would come in here. They would get some amazing views, because they all love to hang out down here. What I actually did is I put a chiller down, and I put it, I just made it as a cool area to hang out in, and they immediately flocked to it. That's really, really cool. That's an easy way you can like in this biome, you want your animals to go to a certain place, you can put, some chillers under it. I know I did that in the lion habitat for Season Zoo. I put some warmers in the rocks, actually. And so the lions would always hang out on the rocks. You can kind of coax them into where you want them to go with your habitat design, which is cool. Wow, they all stood up at the exact same time. That was weird. Anyway, you'll notice, that guy's running all the way over there. Let's go see what's going on that side of the habitat. Oh, added a whole bunch of crazy crap here, trying to make this look just like cluttered really bad, like this has just been sitting around for forever. Added junk all over the place, added this little Jeep, and now we have this side of our habitat. And I am loving it. We have a little pool here, which they love to bounce around in. They splash around in that like a bunch of goobers. Super cute. And again, we've got this whole effect of it feeling like the dingoes are just right there. So I'm super duper pleased. You could see just how much this is looking now with the planting, how it's you can't see the fences at all. I love it. Like, this is one of my favorite habitats. I've cleaned up the sides of the buildings here. I've added more overhangs to give them some more shade. Yeah, the dingoes seem to be pretty happy. I do have too many in here, according to the game. So if you were to play with welfare off, this habitat, I think I have about 8 dingoes in here, is actually too small. According to the game, I don't necessarily agree with that. I had a struggle on what to do over here, so I just put some more rocks in. We still have to cover up the fence area. Guess what we're going to use? That's right, more rocks. Let's get out of this view, just so you can see a little bit better what it looks like. I still have to clean all this up. This backstage, I'm going to move it to actually backstage. But here's an overview of their habitat now. And you can see the moat here is a little bit deeper. But they can still get down there and run around. They just can't jump up. So I'm happy. I'm pleased with it. Added some feeders over here just to try and pull them over in this direction. I have 2 keepers working this right now. You can see there he goes. He's jumping around there. Eat. Oh, he's done, I guess. Oh, he got it down. There you go. It just magically appears. Magic meat appears. So here's a look from the dingo's perspective as to what's... Look at all this carnage. Oh my gosh. But yeah, I'm happy with this. I think this is turning out really, really well. The next step, the guests are complaining about being thirsty because of the desert biome. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a building here. I always intended to have more than one building for this build. And we're going to use reference image for another building. And I'm going to tell you right now, it doesn't quite look like the reference image, but I'm still pretty pleased with it. So that's coming up next. Let's take a look at what's going to end up in here. So here's another one of those inspiration buildings from, I did a Google search of literally Australian Outback ghost towns, and like the first link had 20 something really awesome pictures. And this was one of the pictures. This was referenced by one of the pictures I saw. And so really happy with this building, even though it's just a box basically. This roof line is actually pretty close to the original. Kind of happy. I like the funky shape of it. It kind of feels ramshack and just thrown together, but that's kind of what it looks like in the reference image. So I did stick some drink vendors in there, although they're currently not staffed. I don't know why. And I decided to go ahead and use the new Australian benches because I figured outside of these videos, I'm probably not going to use them. So I might as well, I guess, use them and show you. We have this over here. This is a rain collector. And it is a, so it's how you get your drinking water. However, I did not create it, and I forgot to write down who did. So let me look really fast so I make sure to give credit for this awesome tower. It's part of a larger blueprint that I'll go ahead and drop down right now, actually. So Australian Outback House is what it is. So there's this beautiful Outback house, a little big for what we're doing, and a windmill, which is super neat, but again, a little big for what we're doing. And actually, this is all quite big for what we're doing. I originally tried to put it in, but I was unable to until I built that drink restaurant. Anywho, this is, it's by Bobson, and it's Australian Outback House with water pump. Highly encourage you to check that out. You can see we've got the sign up there. This is cold drinks. That's one of the new Australian signs. Bunch of stuff here. This is actually where I think the in-game signage has come in really handy to dress this area up and make it pop a little bit, and to kind of make it feel a bit more like a zoo rather than just a actual random building. Got the cool little signs here. So this is the biggest addition in this part of the update. And welcome to Dingo Flats. Had to give this another cute little entrance area, just like we did for Koala Cove. Nothing fancy with the name. The letters are Ricey's font, one of Ricey's many fonts. I highly recommend you download Ricey's fonts. The chevron, the what is this called? The barrier, I made that real quick. It's not the best. It gets the idea, but it's not the best. I didn't want to spend too much more time on it, but love the dingoes, love the artwork. It's so nice. Recolorable, the red is recolorable on these. Just a cute little simple sign to bring you in. And this is what we have. This is our Dingo Flats. So yeah, very, very, very happy with how this turned out. So I'd like to show you. You pretty much saw exactly how it worked. So I'd like to just give you a quick little tour here, as long as these people get out of the way. So I like that I can't see any of the benches or any of the fences or anything like that. We have our dingo habitat on this side. It's packed. I just reopened the zoo, so it is absolutely packed. But yeah, we've got the Great Western Store. This is like I said, directly inspired by something I found online. There they are. There's some dingoes. Are you going to play with the bubbles? No, you're not going to play with the bubbles. Okay. So, love that they climb all over the rocks and stuff. Really cool. Really, really well done. If I look over here, I gave this place a name. The name of the restaurant, the name of the drink store is Elaine's. Awesome Australian flag. I believe it's from Haribo. He has a whole bunch of flags on his workshop, and you should totally download those as well. Like I said, I have no problem using workshop items when people can do things way better than I can. So I think the sign, the name on the sign really brings the whole area together, though. Really pleased. I love this whole little area now. It really feels like a cohesive little mini theme, which is exactly what I love to do. So it makes sense to me that you have this dingo area and then you have a couple themed buildings around it. I think that's pretty decent for a zoo. And I'm also loving the fact that I actually see people over here looking at the dingoes. Oh, there they are. They're all playing with each other. They are fun. You know, I forgot how much I pay so much attention to building and so little attention to the actual animals. They are beautiful and they are fun to watch. It is pretty cool watching them, except for when they rotate like that without moving any feet, but whatever. Still, you can see no barriers. I'm like, I know I keep bringing it up, but I'm really happy about it. Except for right there. What's going on there? Well, this is on purpose, actually. In my research, I found out that I think it's New South Wales. There is a fence, a 3,488-mile dingo barrier fence to protect cattle. It was built, I believe, in the late 1800s, and I think it's sort of still maintained. Someone who lives in Australia will, if you know better than me, please let me know. But yeah, I just decided to do this. I thought this was a nice nod and a nice way to kind of end the habitat. And we could even put some info signs up here if I wanted to pursue this idea and talk about it and how it's impacted both human and dingo populations. But yeah, this is one of the recolorable or editable fences. Or fences, editable signs. But yeah, this is it. This is my Dingo Flats area, and I don't think I could be any happier with how this turned out. Hopefully you agree. You think it looks really good too. So that's going to do it for us today. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, hit the like button and consider subscribing if you haven't already. With that being said, have yourself a great day, great night, great whatever, and I will see all of you for the next episode of Planet Zoo. Take care, everyone, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.